In this video, we'll cover how to count fin rays and spines in sunfishes, and I'll use a green sunfish specimen to show you how this is done. I am Koa, and this is KN Fishing Smarts, where we fishers are always learning and sharing knowledge about fishing and fishes. Counting the soft rays and spines in the fins of lepimids is a very useful diagnostic ability. In ichthyology, or the field of biology that studies fishes, characteristics on a fish that are countable are called meristic characteristics, such as the spines in the dorsal fin or lateral line scales. We can count those. Commonly, this method of counting characteristics is just called meristics. Morphometric characteristics are features that are measured rather than counted. These are features that are also proportionally analyzed against other characteristics. So total length of a fish and the largest dorsal spine length versus head length would be morphometric characteristics. So here we are focusing on the meristic characteristics in the fins. We'll be counting spines and rays in the dorsal fins, pectoral fins, and anal fin. Any species of lepimid or common sunfish will show variance in meristic characteristics, as in you won't always get the same counts all the time on different specimens. In the Sunfish Identification Guide that I created, which is also hosted at koa.org/sunfishes, you might see something like this on the Green Sunfish page. So if a number before a characteristic is only a single number, such as the 3 next to the anal spines, then that means the characteristic rarely provides a count of anything different on that species. And it is extremely rare to find any lepimid without 3 anal spines. In fact, I've never actually physically handled a specimen that didn't have 3 anal spines. For the dorsal spines, where we see the number 10, it is less rare but still uncommon to find a green sunfish with more or less than 10 dorsal spines. If you see 2 numbers with a hyphen between them, such as the 13 and 14 next to pectoral rays, then both of those counts are the most common and appear with somewhat similar frequency. If you see a number in parentheses, such as the 8 next to the 9 for anal rays, the first number is the usual count on that species, while the number in parentheses appears much less, but with enough regularity to be considered. It is possible to encounter specimens that will have a count for a meristic characteristic that does not fit into the suggested ranges listed in my guide or in your other field guides. These outliers are always considered in the statistical analyses when we scientists are working on our projects and studies, but we don't often mention them in the species descriptions as they are far too rare. So here is a lovely green sunfish, Lepimus cyanellus, that I captured in southern Missouri. Let's walk through how to count the spines and rays in the dorsal fins, anal fin, and pectoral fin. The counting method is fairly standard in ichthyology and is applicable to all sunfishes, like your black basses and crappies, as well as many other groups of fishes, but not all. Dorsal spines. Lepimids have a fused dorsal fin, where the first dorsal fin is composed of hard, thick spines, and the second dorsal fin is composed of soft rays. All spines are counted. Counting spines is relatively easy if the fish is being analyzed physically, because these spines are noticeably sharper and denser than the soft rays. And if you plan on doing your fin counts when you get home or back to your lab, I really suggest you take photos with the highest quality setting on your camera and really make sure that you get those fins spread out so you can count the individual spines and rays. So here we see that we have 10 dorsal spines, and most of the time on all specimens within Lepimus there are going to be 10 dorsal spines, occasionally 9 or 11. Dorsal soft rays. The soft rays are trickier to count. These are thinner and much more flexible compared to the thick, rigid spines. Counting the posterior rays, or the last rays, can be a headache sometimes. So firstly, you're going to want to count at the base, or near the body. These soft rays will branch off distally, or away from the body, so it's important to count at the bases so not to overdo the meristic count. Secondly, and this is where it gets tricky, the last two rays coming from the body are typically going to be counted as one ray because they actually sprout from a single place under the surface. Depending on the specimen, this may be obvious or it may not be. Basically, if the branching of the last ray appears to happen at or near the surface, then definitely count that ray as one because it probably is connected beneath. This fish has 11 dorsal rays. Pectoral rays. The pectoral rays are in each of the two pectoral fins, one on each lateral side, and there are no spines in the pectoral fins of lepimids, only soft rays. All pectoral rays are counted even if they are small. Again, count at the base of the rays as they will branch distally. And often a magnifying glass is needed to examine the rays properly in the field. Sometimes they can be really small. If a photo is taken, make sure that the fin is spread out. There is no blur in the photo, and the highest quality photo setting is set on the camera. If possible, count the pectoral rays on both the left and right pectoral fins. It does happen where these counts are different on the same fish. On this specimen here, we have 14 pectoral rays on the left pectoral fin. The anal spines are the first anterior extensions coming from the anal fin. These spines are very similar to the dorsal spines as they are sharp, hard, and thick. If your meristic count for anal spines is not 3, then consider yourself lucky for having found such an oddity. And indeed, we have 3 spines on our fish, as expected. The anal rays are posterior to those 3 anal spines. Again, just like with the dorsal rays, these may present difficulty for counting. Counting anal rays is the same routine discussed for dorsal rays. Count at the bases as these rays branch distally. The last 2 rays are typically going to be counted as one ray because they actually connect underneath the surface. Spreading out the fin is really necessary for this count. Sometimes it's quite obvious what constitutes as the last 2 rays, and sometimes you'll have to make a judgment call. If it seems like the last rays coming out of the body probably connect under the surface, then count those as 1. They'll usually be touching or nearly touching at the dermal layer and branched underneath. And this fish has 9 anal rays. Alright, so it looks like this green sunfish has 3 anal spines, 9 anal rays, 10 dorsal spines, 11 dorsal rays, and 14 pectoral rays on that left pectoral fin, all of which fall into the expected counts for this species. Alright, so we give thanks to the supporters of Koa Nature, not just the one-time donators, but our monthly contributors, the Koa Nature Patreon patrons. Find out more at koa.org/support. Also, I will be dropping plenty more videos on lepimids in the near future, as well as more videos on fishing and fishes so that we can up our fishing smarts. Alright, I say to you, fish responsibly and good luck. Cheers.